Today we'll be discussing, of course, Kellhus and a Cerimbor, one of the most dastardly, vicious, and cruel characters ever put to fiction out there, as well as just a fascinating character study towards intelligence and logic. Of course, we all hear the turn of phrase, the logos. It's part of the Socratic method when it comes towards the nature of how an individual is. It's logos, pathos, and ethos. We have the emotional side, we have the logical side, and we have our credibility as an individual. And these are all formed and sort of intertwined. But what if it was the case that we completely ignored pathos and any of our emotional credibility and focused entirely on what is the shortest path, no matter how cruel or dastardly or morally disturbed it could potentially be? This, of course, is presented within the second apocalypse by none other than Kellhus and a Cerimbor. The main character of this series, a horrifying entity that is completely devoid of much emotional gravitas and sensibilities, who is only focused on achieving his goals and just doing what he has to get what he wants for them. Kellhus is an absolutely fascinating entity when it comes towards this sort of mindset, because we tend to believe that ultimately logic is the only thing we have, and we tend to ignore those two other points of mythos and sort of philosophy. Of course, we have to understand that Kellhus in a Cerimbor is not necessarily a psychopath, not necessarily a sociopath. He's a Dunyin who focus entirely on enhancing themselves and their intelligence and get scarily far, only to fail towards their own sense of darkness, a central motif within the series that focuses entirely on the nature of our own biases, our own sense of thought. Of course, the issue with this centralized thought is that the Dunyin are hypocrites and generally amoral individuals. The Dunyin don't believe in gods. They don't believe in anything like that. They were cast off from, I believe, the Kenyani in the world of the series for their atheistic beliefs and for absolute adherence to logic, which is, of course, reflective of a lot of Greek and the idea of what does it mean to be above humanity, and sort of the issues when you disregard culture, morals, ethics for a complete and singular through line of logic. You surrender yourself, you worship logic. The logic is all you have, or in this case, the logos. Kellhus and his whole modus operandi alongside the Dunyin is completely centered on worshipping logic as the end-all be-all. And that, of course, draws into question of, well, what does Kellhus want? It's to kill his dad. His dad went against everything that the Dunyin believed in because he corrupted them, essentially. He made them an outside force. He gave people a sense of goals, and there's outside influence and history that's going to be affecting how they view things, and how that ruined everything. And that kind of makes clear already a fault with the Dunyin. They're very much caricatures, because they don't have traits, they don't have personal ideals, they're focused on that and that alone. The logos being automata. You are the peak of everything, and you don't interfere with anything. They are very myopic. If they don't know something, they don't know something. Which is kind of an issue when you're the ultimate being and you are very ignorant of the world and politics and war and a lot of things, in fact. Kellhus himself is very much a sort of amalgamation in the beginning of pure quintessential logic, and it's very easy to believe that he's doing a lot of what he does for the sake of the good, what he considers as a positive framework. Except that his whole goal is focused on, of course, killing his father. It's focused on murdering people, to be as cruel, as vicious as possible, but not caring at all. There's even more terrifying than even the petty ambitions of most other people. Kellhus just does not care. He's just a monster in every regard. He uses people. He seduces them. He makes them love them, like adore him, worship him, view him as some matter of God. And he doesn't care. They're tools, they're pawns to him. And the only element we have of his character that is any at all empathetic is that he's kind of has a weakness for women. And even then, it's not like love or anything along those lines. It's something else. And it is a pitch black dark abyss. Kellhus truly is an amalgamation of a darkness that comes before him, which is revealed in the second novel of the series, The Warrior Prophet.